I'm Jai.
And I'm Rebecca. And we've been married for 3 years.
We're also about to be parents for the very first time.
We don't know if it's going to be a boy
Or a girl. It doesn't really matter, just as long as it's healthy. You see, 10 years ago, I broke my neck, and now I'm in a wheelchair with limited body function. So you're probably wondering, how on earth did I get my wife pregnant? We weren't sure how it was all going to work, so we just went ahead and gave it a bash, and here we are. Yeah.
Well, that's one way of putting it. 2 years ago, Jai and Beck started trying for a baby. Because of Jai's spinal cord injury, they had no idea if it was even possible. Would they be able to conceive without help? Was Jai's sperm any good? I get asked a lot, as I'm sure Jai does, whether a guy with a spinal cord injury can even have sex, let alone slip one past the goalie. So it's time to put the hard questions to Jai. Going in.
After my injury, a lot of things were affected, as well as outside physical things you can see. A lot of internal functions never going to be the same again, and never actually asked the question when I was after my injury. Am I still going to be able to have kids, or am I still going to be able to ejaculate?
Most patients who have spinal injuries have two hurdles that they have to come across if they want to have a family. The first one is to be able to ejaculate, and most people unfortunately can't ejaculate naturally. And the second problem that they face is if they want to have a family, that the quality of the sperm is normally affected by the spinal injury, and it's normally low. And having a good sperm count or quality of sperm is very important for being able to have a family.
The odds were stacked against them. Finding a way to become parents would require some 21st century science.
IVF was one, and then Dr. Taki mentioned the Ferticare vibrator, and we were kind of like, wow, how does that work? And he said it was a more natural way than having IVF with all the drugs and tests that you have to have.
Yeah, we just sort of did our own research on the internet, and he kind of suggested that, to search online, and we found a supplier in the US, and emailed him, and within
about 2 weeks, wasn't it?
2 weeks it arrived, and no instructions.
I did have a little manual.
Had a little manual
with
and
a little diagram.
A little diagram, and we didn't know what we're doing. We just went ahead and tried.
The first option is to try something simple. Of people who can't ejaculate, is to try something like a Ferticare vibrator, which stimulates the reflex ejaculation pathways in the body, and some people can ejaculate with that, and if they can, it's very simple.
IVF would have cost about $10,000. The supercharged vibrator, designed to kickstart Jai's system, cost $1,500.
It's pretty high-powered stuff. It's charged off the mains. It's not like battery-powered or anything. It's pretty scary stuff. Well, this is the pad that's supposed to come in contact with my man bits. The diagram doesn't actually show you where it's supposed to go, so there's a bit of experimentation. I don't have fine finger motion. I can't move my fingers or my thumbs, and so to push it, I had to really kind of push my thumb in on it, and like that. Serious noise. And you hear that noise and you think, I'm not putting that thing anywhere near me.
And, not very romantic either.
No.
The use of the Ferticare technology certainly gave his body a jolt, but it produced blood, not semen.
Next day I rung the urologist and asked him, look, I spent half the night in A&E last night bleeding, and he goes, how long since the last time you ejaculated? And I said, 8 years, and he goes, yeah, that's going to happen. But Dr. Taki was just like, yeah, just give it another go and see what happens. He said it'll settle down, and sure enough, the next time I tried, it was awesome. Things worked really well, and we were fairly confident.
My part in it, when he was using this, I'd have to catch it in a little cup, sterilised cup, and we'd use a syringe, a sterilised syringe, and yeah, it was quite funny. I was talking to my hairdresser about it, and she said, "Oh, it's like turkey basting." So I was like, "Oh yeah, that's a bit, isn't it?"
Yeah.
The odds against achieving pregnancy were huge, yet it took just 3 attempts before the magical positive result showed on the pregnancy test.
You done the test, you picked it up, and you kind of looked at it, and you were kind of like, I seen your face, and you were like, that looks like a plus. You came back into the bedroom, and you were all quiet. And then I went to go to the toilet, and I kind of like, just went to go and wash my hands and looked down, and of course, here's the P test on the thing, and I seen the plus. I was like, it's very faint, and you're like, yeah, it's very faint, and then I still think this is a plus.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is a plus, and it's a plus, this is a plus. And then like you started crying, and like, yeah, there was hugs.
"40 weeks later, after a textbook pregnancy, this baby is ready to be born. The baby's breech, so Bex is having a caesarean.
Baby's coming now. Oh, it's all right, the girl. Congratulations. Oh, thank you. Oh, yeah, I've got a dry towel.
Emily Rose Waite weighed in at 3.2 kilograms. It's 6:30 and the Waite household is awake, thanks to Emily.
Hello, Emily.
Bex is on bed rest after her caesarean, so Jai's straight in there, attending to his baby girl. Jai has little hand and wrist function, but he's determined to be a hands-on dad.
Getting her out of the cot kind of came about more so because about that same time, Bex, she couldn't get her out of the cot or, pick her up. It was after that I kind of had to think to myself, well, now's the best time to learn. And at the same time, Emily has to, and she's had to learn to adjust to my ability as well. Like, to start with, first couple of times, the way I get her out is kind of just scooping her up. And I have to lift her right up and put her up around my head. And she goes a bit like upside down. And the first couple of times she's like, freaking out a bit about it. Yeah. And now she's just relaxed into it and she just knows that's the way I handle it. And just when I'm carrying her in general, she just knows that she'll sit on my lap, she won't wiggle around because she knows that, just subconsciously, I guess, knows that she wiggles, she'll be on the ground. Yeah. You want out? Yeah. What's that? Hey. Oi. You got a smile?
A few years back, Bex was Jai's main caregiver. Now, Cherie calls by each morning, specifically to assist Jai.
Jai, breakfast is ready.
Sweet. Good girl. Hey. Cheers, Cherie. When Cherie comes in the morning, she'll come in and, depending on what Emily's doing, if she's awake or asleep. If she's asleep, I'll be straight in the shower. If it's a bowel morning, doing bowel routine and then into the shower. But, you know, during that time as well, she's hanging out washing, vacuuming, doing the floors, so we consider that as that's me doing the vacuuming, hanging out the washing. So, you know, for Rebecca it feels like, you know, I'm doing my part housework-wise. So, you know, it's, without that support, you know, it'd be so much harder, eh? Yeah.
About there?
Yeah, that's perfect, thanks.
Morning.
Morning, hun.
Okay.
Did you even hear her wake up?
No, I didn't.
No, yeah, she was like...
I slept right through. I was so tired yesterday.
She was I think my more fear was for Rebecca. There's a lot of pressure on mums, you know, like, you know, it's so tiresome for them, like, it's so hard, you know, she has to get up early hours of the morning. And one of my major fears was that, you know, she was going to get run down, you know, as a disabled parent. There's not a lot I could do when it came to changing nappies, dressing her and that sort of, and bathing. And so, you know, a lot of the care and responsibility falls back on Rebecca, so if she goes down, then, you know, I can't do a lot. And so my biggest fear was that, you know, Rebecca wasn't going to be able to, you know, cope, but she's been so fantastic. It's just like, she's the best mum. I can't, yeah. And I'll just try, you know, try and do the things I can.
For Jai, he's got an incomplete injury, which is good, but if he had a complete injury, he would have very little hand movement, which would make it difficult, you know, in his situation with the baby, to cuddle it and to help changing nappies and do all those sorts of things, or even to, you know, play with a rattle or play ball or whatever. For people who have an injury below the cervical spine, they have full hand movement, and they can have trunk movement as well, just depending on the level. So they're much better equipped to deal with routine tasks of daily life.
She's only been up for a few hours, but Emily's already off for her first nap of the day. Her parents have quickly learned to make the most of this window to crack into their own tasks. Emily's awake and hungry. Jai's rigged his wheelchair to take a baby carrier. It's a bouncinette, modified by a mate who also uses a wheelchair and is a dad.
Hey, what's all the noise? First 3 days in that maternity ward, I would just chuck her on that and cruise around there. I was the star of the board, you know, because no one had ever seen, like, one, a guy in a wheelchair with a baby, and two, you know, there I am cruising around with the baby just asleep on my lap and safely, you know, cruising around. You're okay. You're okay. Stinky nappy. Yeah. Stinky nappy. Yeah, let's change your nappy.
Well, if you didn't have the carrier, you probably wouldn't be able to hold
Do
her
a
as
lot of
much
things,
because
yeah.
once she's on his lap, he just has to stay there because he has to hold her. He can't.
Yeah.
He can't push in. She can't. Or until she can sit there and not fall off on her own.
Yeah. Now I can just cruise around the house with her, and yeah, she's quite happy hanging out. Yeah. Ah, yes. We've been there before. Ooh, what's this one? It's pretty cool coming home from work and, you know, seeing, you know, mum and daughter come home, and I can just hang out with, you know, with them both, just chill out on the couch, and she sits on my lap and we just sort of sit there, read her a story, or just cuddle time, I guess. Once upon a spring day in South Melbourne, Unicorn Rose and I shared some magic. She's starting to, would like to share that magic with you. Smile as well, and that's really cool, you know, like, she is a bit more interactive now, so. We laughed and continued on. Can you look at the picture? Are you too busy tasting your hand?
Like most new parents, life has become about the simple things, like walks in the park. It takes Jai that little bit longer to do things, but the ladies in the Waite household are very patient.
You can see the look on people's faces when we go out. They're kind of inquisitive, and you can see them kind of wondering, and I kind of have it in the back of my mind thinking people must think, I wonder if that kid's actually his. And I'm guessing this program will probably answer those questions. But, you know, like, you know, they must wonder how it all works, and, you know, and kind of wonder how functionally, like, I operate as a father. I'm just lucky that Emily's got a fantastic mum that does such a brilliant job. I guess the world's changing, you know, it's adapting a lot more for disabilists like myself, and, you know, people are getting a bit more accepting. It feels like a whole huge weight of responsibility on my shoulders. Yeah, but no, no, it's just taking it as it comes, and I think, yeah, it's just a case of being a mentor to, you know, to a little person, and yeah, hopefully I can be a good dad.